Good evening everyone and welcome to ATA Racing Round 2 GP2 at China. Good evening everybody. We did attempt to do this, excuse me, we did attempt to do this before, but we're now going to attempt number 2. We are having a few issues with a few drivers, internet troubles, as well as qualifying session being broke. And it's now full wet for this session, so it's a great start to tonight, but let's hope we can finish off with a good race. My name is Mr. Michaels, and welcome this evening to the broadcast. My usual compatriot, Craig Senna, is currently watching Arsenal compete in the Europa League, which is fine, so you got me for tonight. As I said, a very small or smaller grid than we had in Australia, which is unfortunate to see. It does mean that we have 9 drivers here. Everyone's going to score points as long as they finish, so at least that is that. But we carry on. We will persevere as always. So Mark 442 is the first person to be out onto the track. And because it is full wet, I mean, in our first attempt we did have a dry session for qualifying, but we did have some issues, and yeah, so not exactly the best, but as I said, we will carry on. We shall persevere from that. Qualifying session was broke a little bit. The timings were all over the place at the camera and from all the drivers, so let's hope we've got some hope it should be okay. There's the floodlines. Last week's winner in Australia, which actually, based on last week, went a lot more smoother than this week. But again, so we had to have a good race, and we can finish off on a high note. Things can only get better, right? We're 9 minutes to go. Again, we're doing the short quali because of the shortened numbers, which again is a shame, but nothing we can do. We try and recruit these drivers and best we can. So let's ride on board of HRG Williams. It's not like full wet conditions at all, so let's see how he does on his lap going into turn 1. A little bit jumpy, and it goes a little bit understeery, but just got to carry the speed through. It does very tentative on the power, especially in these conditions. Into third gear, minimize the wheel spin, there we go. Through turn 1 and 2, goes on forever, it feels like anyway. So that's the end of the first sector, going down into the hairpin. Let's make sure he gets his braking right, down into second gear. Links the apex quite nicely, drifting his way round. And now let's go through the middle part of the lap. No, it's definitely not flat. Definitely on these conditions, and he slides his way through the long left-hander. Now into the right. Let's go back on board. Meant to have the apex, but I guess in these conditions it's not exactly essential. Put in third gear, mind the traction. Making a decent lap so far. That's the end of the middle sector. Now into the final sector, which starts with this very, very tricky corner, especially in wet conditions. And into second gear, they've got to watch the traction, got to mind it. Again, wait for the power, and then plant it on. Normally you would have DRS, but because of the rain there is no DRS, as Bulltail does at 50.0. Again, we shall see what happens with that. I guess the timings are again messed up. Frantic 48.6. Let's see what HRD does. Apparently P3, even though he hasn't set a lap, so this could be interesting as he now comes through the final corner down into fourth gear. Again, looks a decent lap. Let's put him first. So again, the timings are messed up, but again he goes 5th. But it's just the problem, it sorts out the grids, it does the correct times from what you set them, but you can't tell where you are, which is again disappointing. But yet again, Ghostmasters fix one thing with the patch, or fix quite a few minor things with the patch, and it seems to have got something else. So 6.5 minutes to go to qualifying. For those that did watch the first attempt, apologies. It is frustrating. You want things to run smoothly, and it doesn't. But it's got to persevere with what you are given. It's definitely not better than 2015, that's for sure, with this game. On board with Joran, who actually in our first attempt at qualifying retired by mistake. So he's got to thank his lucky stars that he gets another shot at qualifying. Let's hope he can take it as he goes down into the final corner. Nice little yellow and green helmet. He's got a Mercedes behind him, a Bulltail. I don't think he's hampering Bulltail on his lap as he comes out of the hairpin. See what time he says. He's currently 2 seconds behind, although I don't think the time he goes into the pits. Well, that. So Bart 442 taking a very weird line going down into the hairpin now. I don't think he is, and he's trying to stay out of the way of HLG. His car jumps a bit. See what HLG does. Going around on the second lap. I think it's weird because sometimes it sorts out the times and it doesn't. He goes P2, I think. 4 tenths behind the leader, which is Frantique, which fortunately was the original pole sitter in our first qualifying session. In the dry, he's currently nearly 5 tenths ahead the rest of the pack. Greydig is currently third, with Ryan in fourth. He's on a lap, 5 minutes to go. Floodline's fifth, who now goes fourth. With a lap, at least we get some times on a little bit, and then it all messes up. Bulltail's currently sixth, Joran seventh, Art in eighth, and Patrick in ninth, who was actually pretty good in the dry session. Currently in ninth place, so I definitely think he's got a lot more pace behind this lap. Let's see what he can do out the final corner. A little bit tentative, had a good drop down to third just to get the turning in. Crosses the line, and no, he wasn't on a lap, so see what he does going down into turn one. Yeah, you just got to use the gears just to sort of brake into this corner, gradually go down into second gear. You see the back end sliding, and he's fighting with it. Goes through there. So HLG currently second. I think he may go into the pits on this round. Let's see who else is on. Well, Ryan's going into the pits. So there's only a few drivers on track at the moment. Nice little green helmet by HLG. He's going to go into the pits, isn't he? Yes, he is indeed. Everyone goes into the pits as soon as I spectate them, which is brilliant. So there's Floodlines currently leading the championship after round one, and okay, like I'm gonna just go off of that camera a little bit. That was weird, but yeah, I think it's all sorted now. That was definitely weird. You can see on the screen as Floodlines goes completely sideways out the final corner. Still in his lap, so he's got more pace behind it despite that slide. Goes second, currently 2 tenths behind Frantique, who is now going out on a lap. Seems the times have sorted-ish, I think. Yeah, there we go. As I said, 9 drivers, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I'm sure they will provide a good race. Still a 50% race. At least we still got that. As Joran coming around now. We've got 2.5 minutes to go in the qualifying session before we can set a grid and get going. I hope there isn't many problems tomorrow. Obviously tomorrow will be the F1 division, but hopefully we can have more numbers to start off with. It could be just various reasons. People having internet troubles, so on and so forth, or they have work, or etc. It's something that we just can't control. But yeah, it's unfortunate to see early on, and obviously Codemasters haven't completely fixed this game yet. But I'm sure they will get there. I'm sure this qualifying thing is annoying, but you could sort of work around it, I guess. I mean, it does sort itself out eventually. Just takes a while to do so. So it'll be quite interesting as Joran is going to finish a lap. Only P7. He's yeah, he was on an outlap, so let's have a look. Frantique, front leader, Floodlines. I don't think Floodlines is going to go on another lap. We shall see. Minute half to go. If he does go into the pits, which he does, that is going to be his qualifying over. So that's it. What can Frantique do? Oh, he's made a meal in that final corner. I don't think it's going to improve. No, he doesn't. So that's that for him. HLG's currently third, although again, the times are messing up because he's a minute. Well, you can see the time on the top right hand of the screen. So HLG currently in third place. So decent for him, and he's going to ease off a little bit because he's got time to cross the line and set up another lap. So let's have a look, see. Welcome to the one viewer that we have so far, welcome. I don't have the chat box, so I can't see what you're saying. I hope you're saying appropriate stuff, but out of this race, we're currently 30 seconds left in the qualifying session. As it says, Patrick just gone faster than a 2-minute 1, but I know that is not true. Yes, we're going to have 15 seconds left. The timer is going to run out shortly. Ryan's in the final corner now. He's literally just has enough time to set another lap. And he goes third. That true to go third? We'll see at the end, but qualifying is now over. And he's gone on intermediates, I just realised. How did I not realise that before? He's gone on intermediate tyres. Well, this could be an absolutely brilliant call because I don't think anybody else has. And they haven't. John's just crossed the line. Patrick's there. Even Frantique, who's our current pole sitter, has not gone in intermediate. So let's have a look. Great. No, Ryan is the only one on intermediates to see whether this works. I don't think it. This is a gamble, nevertheless. But if it works, he's going to be on pole by an absolute mile. God, he's all over the place with the car. But he's not losing time. I mean, you get to see this. You can see just the drift sideways. Let's see what happens. Going into the most tricky part of the lap. Nice camera angle. Here we go. Says he's third, but I don't think he is. I'm not sure whether this gamble will work. I mean, it's still raining heavily as Patrick is his qualifying's over. He's coasting his way back to the pits. Gravedigger apparently goes first on the 50.2. But again, this qualifying thing is really, you don't know really what to make of it. But is Ryan going to pull something out of the bag here? Gambling on intermediate tyres. I don't know whether the lap seems okay. Well, let's see. Crosses the line. Does a 48.3, but does that put him pole? It might do. Again, we'll see. HLG in the pits. Patrick is just coasting back. Yeah, that's it. So qualifying is over. I mean, you can see the problem that we got here. You see at the top right screen, normally that timer would stay as it is. But it's counting, well, it's counting up in this case. It had been counting down before. Patrick's run out of fuel, so gonna retire, mate, or just stay out of the way of Bart, who I don't think is on a lap. Yeah, he's 20 miles an hour, just coasting back, trundling back into the pits here. This HLG, who's yet to retire, and Patrick, and then we can get on to the race. Yeah, it's been a difficult night so far. Unfortunate. Codemasters, just really frustrating. Really frustrating. I didn't remember seeing that barrier there before. Really weird in the pit lane. But qualifying's over. We'll see how the grid is formed. Does Ryan get the pole? And the session is, it says Patrick is 8th as he gets Will back into the garage. And it is. There we go. Ryan does indeed take the pole. The intermediates did work. Not as much as you would think, because only 3/10 up. He takes the pole, ahead of Frantique as second. Floodline's third, then HLG fourth, Gravedigger fifth. Boltel then Joran, Patrick in 8th, and Bart in 9th. 9 drivers here. Will be the start of the race, but the big question is it going to be a dry race? Could be. And as I said, let's hope that we don't have any more issues for this. We've already had enough. Already had enough issues to start, and it is a dry race, which is good. They'll be thankful of that. But yeah, these are the hardships you have to go through the league when you set up. Again, horses out of our control. We start. So 9 drivers take us for a race. Let's hope we can have a good one. Let's please finish off tonight with a good, positive attitude. And obviously we can go on till tomorrow by myself. Yeah, Mr. Michaels will be with a load of other drivers for the F1 division, BST Digital, see Mucker, Craig Senna, new driver FNZ Zoe would also be KS Outgoing, Lee Ryan, XR Mansell, and all the others there. Of course, would technically be round 1 because we had an issue in Australia last week with the ghost car in the pit lane. This patch, broken qualifying, has fixed the ghost cars. It's just a little continuous cycle, isn't it? With these patches from Codemasters, they bring out the game, it has problems, patches that fix it. But every time the patch fix a certain problem, it then brings they'll get it right eventually. But in the meantime, we have to keep going with what we have. We'll have a few discussions when this is finished. Just on a few things, but just waiting for everybody to prepare for the start. Good evening to the viewers here. Welcome to race of ATA above the apex. And of course, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, you will see the F1 drivers. This is the GP2 division. Normally we have a lot more numbers than this, but we've had a few problems tonight. But we are just about set to go. Waiting for players to start. I believe Ryan is just waiting for everyone to be back before we start properly. And as I said, I hope that the race is eventful. I hope we don't have any issues. And we are just waiting here. Any time now. I think we've waited enough. Of course, the Singapore Grand Prix in real life in Formula 1. Quite interesting. Mercedes not very hopeful to Singapore this weekend because they've been that good really at Singapore. I don't believe they've ever won. They might have got a podium, but I don't think they've ever won at Singapore. It seems to be Ferrari with the team to beat at that track because it seems to suit their car a little bit more. Well, obviously it could be quite interesting, and I've seen the weather forecast. Apparently there's in Singapore this weekend, so that'd be very interesting to watch. Yeah, but I personally would hope for Sebastian Vettel to win, to put the pressure on Mercedes, because the next few tracks in the calendar, you've got tracks like Malaysia, Circuit of the Americas, Japan. They all suit the Mercedes a little bit more than Ferrari. So if Ferrari are going to win, then it's going to be, they're going to have to win at Singapore. But IGD Skyline has finally readied up, and we're going to be all set for this race around China. And down the race start. Can Floodlions make it 2 wins from 2, or will we see a new winner this season? And let's have a look. So Ryan is starting on the soft tyres here as the lights out and away we go. There's a slow start in Force India at the back. Axel Greydigger has had a great start on the inside of Ryan is Frantique. He's on the mediums, amazingly, and he's still holding it around the inside. Can he take the lead away from Ryan? Ryan just about holds it, but it goes wide. It goes wide in the second part of the corner. And Frantique still with his nose in, but he's still just there, and HLG stayed in third place. Can he challenge Frantique up on the inside? He had a look as all the rest go through their floodlines. He's got Greydigger in front of him. What a great start, but Frantique is really taking an interesting little gamble here on the strategy, starting on the medium tyres. Superstar side, as they go through the middle sector now. Look at that midfielder pack. Gravedigger, the Floodlines, and HLG, and a Mercedes looking all over the place. And Floodlines, look at HLG and Gravedigger both a little bit jumpy. The field unfortunately spread out. Bulltails completely caught everybody unawares, including myself. He's got a massive run. He's on the super softs. And he's looking up on the inside of HLG. The car's jumping a little bit. And he's up on the double overtake. It is. I think, oh, he gives a little bit of a nudge to Gravedigger, but it's double overtake. HLG is retaliating now. Let's see. Up on the inside. Oh, it's great racing. But Gravedigger and HLG still side by side. The Floodlines right behind, watching them both. Bulltails just completely, well, it's past all of them. And Floodlines is up at the inside of HLG. Gonna have a look. Indeed, there's gonna get very narrow. Patrick is there up into 7th place. A few interesting strategies going on here. On the super softs. Frantique on the mediums, having some decent pace, keeping up with Ryan. A decent start, frantic start. Yeah, we'll see what Bulltail can do. Completely, is he the only one in the super softs? Let's have a look. I think he indeed, mediums. So, Bulltail, great start to this race, but of course he's on the faster tyres, so if he's going to do anything with this race, he's got to catch up to the front two in front, and he goes wide into that corner. That's going to hamper him into the long right-hander. Yeah, a few interesting little strategies going on here. A good frantic start, it's just what you want to see. So Floodlines is going to have a look. Not close enough. HLG. Oh, HLG's completely outbraked himself into the smoke. Just about keeps ahead of Floodlines, but he's going to be under pressure. Going down into turn 1, I believe. As Ryan sets the fastest lap. Floodlines. Oh, messed up the final corner. Bulltail fastest lap on those faster tyres. He's going to have to keep on pumping out. Those super softs don't really last that long. Again, it's just an interesting little strategy going on here. Of course, everyone was free to choose on whatever tyre they wanted because of the rain in qualifying. Let's have a look at Frantique. Yeah, Ryan is not pulling away from Frantique. Frantique's got some really good pace on his mediums, dropping it down into first gear, which again, not really the gear you want to be using that often. Yeah, very decent pace, keeping within a second of Ryan, which is just what he wants to do. Bulltail, it'll be interesting to see what Bulltail can make with this strategy. As I said, he's going to really, well, I guess be on the podium. He has to catch the top two. HLG, Gravedigger and Floodlines in a great battle there. Patrick in 7th, just keeping there. Bart in 8th and Jonathan in 9th. Marcus sets the fastest lap. What are you doing? Meant to be retiring, to be honest. But anyway, Ryan is, oh, actually Frantique does have the DRS. Still, he's keeping within a second. With amazing pace from Frantique. Obviously, he got 3rd place in Australia in the WEP. Behind Floodlines and Ryan. But Frantique in this early going in the season does look very, very good. And I believe Floodlines, yes, he's battling with HLG right now. For that 5th place. We need to go back up to the front because Frantique is within touching distance of Ryan. He's getting a little bit of understeer. The dirty air, very big on this game. Would want to go back to that battle behind. We have to stick on the battle with the lead. Good friend already on lap 4. It's a 28 lap race. And Frantique getting very close on the brakes, almost out braking himself again. Dropping it down into first gear seems to be the tactic he wants to do. Yeah, very good. Ryan doesn't seem to have the pace to pull away, which is really what he wants to do, because Frantique, all he has to do is to stay here, and he'd be in the, well, in the driving seat, as HLG is fighting off floodlines behind in that four-way battle. Again, Bulltail on the super soft as HLG was looking there, right in a little bit of a sandwich as Patrick has retired from the race. That's unfortunate. And HLG's jumping all over the place. What's going on? His car gone. Not good at all. A little bit of jump is going around. Oh, this is not good. Cars go sideways. Not good at all. Not great on the battle. Frantique's on the inside of Ryan. I knew I should have stopped the lead battle, but he's up on the inside. Can he make the move stick? And again, Ryan's still trying to stick at it. Oh, he's still there. A little bit of contact. Rubbing wheels, but Frantique right round the outside has got it. Again, Ryan retaliate going down into this hairpin. Trying to look for the outside. Oh, he could go right round the outside. Does the same thing as Frantique does. But it's so far right round. Can he stay on the inside? It's still side by side. Racing, but Frantique is through. And what a pass from Frantique. Definitely has got some pace around this track. Hope you see him as Mucker again sets the fastest lap. So now the problem with Mucker doing that is it may take the point away from, well, it pretty much will. I don't think anybody can get that close. So again, that is very annoying. But and Ryan, he must get back past Frantique, because Frantique on these mediums, he can basically really control this race. Again on the scene to get us close. Floodlines sticking ahead of HLG. Frantique, that was a little bit of to get in. Ryan did not make a good drive out of that final corner, so he cannot make a move into turn 1. He might be under pressure from Bulltail quite soon. So Bulltail's close, very slow, catching up to the front two. Great to for the little bit of lag. I hope the stream is okay. We've got Bart in 7th, John in 8th, and the last one, and Mucker's just going around. I think he's just doing a little practice session for himself for tomorrow. But again, he's actively taking the point away from anybody who wants to get it. Obviously you get a point for pole and for fastest lap, and again, Mucker, he sets the fastest lap. Right on cue. So HLG has actually retired from the race. I think he was lagging too much, and yeah, it's, we are having problems here again. But so just got to carry on with. Closes down a little bit of jump. I do think it's the host. I'm afraid I don't care. Won't like me for saying it, but I do think it's the host, because everybody's jumping on my screen, and that is a shame from HLG, because you did have some good pace on him. We are only on lap 7 of this race now, and it started off so well. It's a shame. It started off so well, this race. I'm going to carry on now. So Bulltail again. Frantique seems to be pulling away from Ryan. Put in some solid laps. It seems at the moment you've got Bulltail trying to catch up to these two, and they're all both pulling away from now. A battle that's brewing between Floodlines and Gravedigger. And this is jumpy, and I don't like this at all. This is not great to see. A Floodline, I think it may be jumping. Ah, it's ridiculous. But Floodlines, let's have a look. Should get the move done. Meanwhile, Bulltail's putting Ryan under pressure and does take place. That's good. So fourth this way into this race. That was good. Very close to Ryan at the moment. Frantic is just pulling away. It's ridiculous pace. And quite soon. The problem with Bulltail is now, and I think the good grip that the Super Softs give you, I think is starting to wear out. We're on lap 8 already, so I think might be starting to get to the end of this because he's losing time now to Floodlines. He's catching right back up. He might have DRS actually, and yeah, indeed he does. So Bulltail might be pitting very soon. This strategy is not really working out. Frantic has got a gap. Oh, and lock up the tyres from Floodlines. Past Gravedigger, so he can now focus on the guys in front. Is Bulltail going to pit? He is indeed. Wonder what tyres it goes on. Have a look. Moves out just in time. So let's see what tyres he goes on to. It is a set of the soft tyres. So those definitely won't go to the end, so we definitely will have to pit again in this. But that does free up Floodlines to see if he can make an attack on ID Skyline again. Look at the tyres. I don't think he obviously doesn't run ABS. In this league you can run any assist you want. Completely free. It's just down to raw pace that you have. Again, it's the car's jumping around a bit. It's not the ideal thing to see, and it's unfortunate. I can only apologise. Again, things are out of control. Starting to hamper the race. Carry on. I mean, Frantic just looks really calm and controlled at the moment. Right, let's see if he can hold up. If Floodline's going to get DRS, he does indeed. Away from Gravedigger. Interested to see what Bulltail can do. See where his strategy ends up. There are spots of rain on the camera. There are spots of rain coming down. This could be quite interesting. So, I mean, obviously they probably saw this at the start of the race, which you can with the weather forecast. So it's your decision on what you do. So Bulltail's gone onto fresh tyres, but if it's now starting to rain, that's put him right on the back foot, and the driving seat now is Frantic. I think for Frantic, he wants the rain to hold off a little bit. That's if indeed it does get wet enough, actually, because in this game, a few spots of rain, which in fact is actually getting heavier as I speak. A few spots of rain, you might still be able to go round on dry tyres. Definitely throws a little bit of a curveball for this race. Might have been a foregone conclusion if it stayed dry, especially with the pace that Frantic's got, because he's completely gone from this battle 3 seconds up the road, and Ryan is now struggling to keep behind Floodlines. Maybe doesn't like these damp conditions, and he's struggling. Gravedigger's dropping off a little bit, but still holding down a solid 4th. Points to points, and again, massive log cut from Floodlines. I like the fact that he's not using ABS. He's a proper, but again, that rain's getting heavier and heavier. But no need for intermediates just yet. So on to the back straight with the DRS. A bit of jumping every now and again. The lag is again going down a little bit, but that's it. Right, they're both slipping, sliding out of the hairpin. Ranty doesn't decide a pit. I don't think you should pit at this point. It's not intermediates yet, but conditions are only going to worsen. DRS is still active, and the game will not disable it until it is intermediate conditions, really. So, let's see what that does as Ryan goes very well, but that could be just the ultimate line that he wants to do. But no, he's still going wide, and Floodlines have a look on the inside. This is now the battle, and yeah, the spray is definitely coming up from the tyres now. So it'd be down to the driver of what they want to do. I mean, not even halfway in this race, so they could just completely change the outlook. Rantique is in complete control. Let's have a look a bit further down. Bulltail in 5th place on his fresh tyres. Art is in 6th. Jordan 7th. Muck is still going around in this little practice session as Rantique there. So black lines all over the back of IGG Skyline now. Might just wait for the straight, or no, you actually look up on the inside for this corner. Yeah, and again, ever so good. Boss could be intermediates quite soon as Ryan is slipping in. Surely Floodlines is going to be through. I think he is. Yes, he is indeed. His car jumping a bit. Get board with Ryan. See if he can retaliate to the hairpin, but again, the conditions are just worsening by the second. Let's see what he can do. Floodline's very, very, very defensive on the inside. Again, he just locks up his tyres. But Ryan, no, Floodlines just closes the door. Ryan can't do anything about that. Is anyone going to pit for intermediates? Ryan does. Or is that just a fresh set of tyres? I think that might be intermediates. Ranty carries on. Floodlines carries on as well. It's also must be for intermediate tyres. Now, is this going to be the right call? The spray coming off suggests that this game is very perspective. Doing that, Bulltail carries on. He's on completely fresh tyres. Let's see what they go on. Gravedigger does go to intermediates, as does Ryan. So let's see whether this works. Ryan very close to that exit, that pit lane line actually, and they both have come out. Well, actually no, Bulltail split them. Bulltail split them completely, and now we will see whether Ryan and Gravedigger's made the right call. And again, the rain is there, the spray of the tyres is there as well, but I mean there's no puddles, so I don't know, this call could be good, although Ryan is pulling away out of certain corners, and then Bulltail comes back. I mean, DRS has not really been hasn't been disabled yet, so Ryan, no, slipping aside, and I don't think this has worked. I mean, it's tough to say. Ryan's still sticking it there. Oh, very, very close. A little bit of contact sideways. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, this could... They're both back, we'll see, but... I mean, the rain is worsening, so it could come back into these two hands, but at the moment, I think Bulltail's on the right tyres. Dry tyres are just the way to go at the moment. Let's see... The leaders does. Floodlines pits. Frantique does not. Frantique believes it's still dry. Is going to pit. So where is he going to come out in relation to everyone else? I mean, again, it's certain corners that the intermediates are the right tyre, and some of them aren't. Bulltail stays out. There is Floodlines. He has gone intermediates. So what is going to happen with him? Bulltail's going to pass him. Just. What's going to happen with Ryan? That's going to be very close. And it... Yeah, definitely sideways. Floodlines just stays in front. Oh. That's interesting. So, we've now art these three on intermediate tyres. Bultel still sticking at it with the dries, and of course the race leader is. See if everyone else has. Bart has just got on to intermediates. Joran is already on the intermediates. Even Mucker. So, it seems that the front two, our current front two, are still sticking at it on the dries. Again, it's actually, we might have hit the crossover point in which the intermediates are now the best tyre to go on. But again, it's difficult to say. It could be just 50-50 really. I don't think DRS has been disabled as of yet. But again, you would say that Frantique, I mean, he could do pretty much anything really. He's got the tyre, and he's still staying out. He's still staying out on dry tyres, so a few drivers very, very confused about what tyre to go on. Floodlines definitely loves these conditions, pulling away from Ryan. DRS is still active. Oh, this is just really weird indeed, and Floodlines, I think it's warming up his tyres. Bultel's still going out on those dry tyres. It's really, really weird with this weather, and he does still stay out. Credit to him, he's in a good position right now in second place. As we now hit the halfway mark. This race, we've eventually got there. Halfway. Yeah, we've had an interesting race so far. Unfortunately the numbers are low, but they provided some good battles. Good battles to watch back over. Of course, this goes up on the YouTube channel when this is finished. The rain now coming down at a steady pace. Spray really took idiots since Ryan goes a little bit wide going into that corner. I want to see with Floodlines if he actually closes the gap on the leader. He's still with Bultel a little bit. Let's have a look. It's currently 30.9, which again, that's just a full pit stop, so Frantique is just miles ahead, and yeah, he's just lost half a second to the leader, so weirdly enough, even though they're not far off the dry tyres are still just about the way to go. As Frantique still emphasises that fact by staying out. Problem for Bultel is because he's on the soft tyre, he does have to pit again. This definitely is really weird. I do got to make sure I take a picture of the results till the end, because unfortunately we may get the other glitch that we had from last week, which was happened in wet weather. Now going to lap 15 of this race on main Floodlines. It's just dropped Ryan now. So Ryan still might be on course for a podium, depends what Bultel does. I mean, Bultel might even stick to these dry tyres. He might go onto another pair of soft tyres when he pits. Because that's the problem, these soft tyres will not make it to the end if it was, you know, damp conditions. I believe the unfortunate thing is that Mucker did actually take the fastest lap, and that will stay with him until the end of the race, because I don't think anybody's going to beat that now with it raining. Yeah, Ryan's definitely dropping away, and Bultel is even pulling away from Floodlines. This is really, really weird. I had this in a career mode race around China, my very first race actually, around China, when it was raining. Everybody else went on to intermediate tyres. I stayed on dries and ended up getting 5th in a Sauber. It's just really, really weird how you can still puddle around. I mean, as I said, they're not struggling on the intermediates by any means. It's just one of those 50-50 conditions, and slides as well. Definitely Bultel is just completely flying away. In fact, as we look at the time with him, is Frantique going to pit? No, he's already gone past turn 1 and 2. He's that far ahead. Commentator's personal, but I definitely think he's got the race win in the bag. Let's see what Bulltail can do. I mean, I know he has to pit, but he is catching Frantic, albeit it's 28 seconds back, so... And Floodlines is going to pit, as is right... Yeah, it's, I believe, in fact, the rain is stopping. So... Oh, wow, wow, wow. So the rain has completely and utterly caught everybody out, or these three out. Those that went on intermediates, now going back onto dries. So... Weird steed. But it's going to the front to an absolute mile in front. Well, well, well. Well, that's what the dynamic weather does now. In the older games, it was as soon as it started raining, that was it. You went on intermediate or full wet tyres, depending on how heavy the rain was. But with this, it can rain and then it stops. And it can catch you out by what tyres you go on. But what it's done is it's completely spread the field out, because these three now, you know, Floodlines is 58 seconds behind the lead. And Bulltail stayed out on those dries, even though I thought at the time it could be the wrong decision. And it's now turned out right. It's just really weird, and the rain is now stopping and the track will dry out. Really weird. And Frantique is going to lap his teammate Bart, who I think is not enjoying this race at all. Frantique is already still on those medium tyres, of course. He can do a one-stop really with the strategy he's been on. Bulltail, I still think, does have to pit again. He's catching Frantique a second a lap, but see, I don't think that's really gonna be a factor here. He's got more than enough a gap, I believe, to pit and then come out. So interestingly, Floodlines has got on mediums. Those will go to the end. Ryan on the softs might go to the end. He's got to be careful with those, I think. But Gravedigger and Floodlines have gone safe with the mediums. We've got 11 laps to go. Bart is going around in 6th place. Marcus ahead of Joran, interestingly. You know, he's going around on this little practice session. We've got 8 drivers here. Well, I say 8. It is technically 7. Which again is unfortunate to see. Of course, we had HLG in the Williams, unfortunately. I think he retired. Probably was too much lag on his screen. His car was jumping around a lot. Patrick retired and has actually sent me a message, so I'll read that later. That's Frantique again, goes around another lap. It's just comfortable. Frantique. He says very, very comfortable. I think I may entice him to race tomorrow in the F1 division if he can, because this pace definitely seems... I definitely think he can go and do it for the Force India team if they need somebody for that. But we shall see. I mean, there may be a reshuffle of a few things. We may have to keep the league going. We potentially maybe going down to 1 division. I might actually put that idea forward to Ryan, but obviously we'll let you know as soon as that is done. Of course, the stewards will tell you, or the commentators will tell you. HLG will be joined with Fast Part Time for the race tomorrow. Let's hope that it goes a lot more smoother than this race has certainly been. I mean, it's been interesting. We've had battles. Don't get me wrong, it's been very entertaining from where I've been. There might be a few reshuffles because of the low numbers, but obviously we'll have those discussions when this race is finished. Let's have a look at this. See, so because Ryan is on the faster tyre, the Floodlines, he's dropped Gravedigger. He was keeping up and is now catching up to the Floodlines. So I think the thing for Ryan is he has to get past Floodlines and then get a gap, because I still think those soft tyres, that's going to be very, very troublesome by, say, lap 26, lap 27. Depends how long Bulltail can go, but as I said before, they're 50 seconds behind the lead, battling for 3rd place. It's just the way the rain has just caught out, because the rain's completely gone. And a few laps ago it was raining, but that's just the way it goes. it does catch you out, and it is unpredictable, which is just what real life is. So, which is good. So Gravedigger, as I said there, but has now pitted, I believe. It's gone into 7th with Joran in 8th. They're battling over some points as Frantique has now pitted, going on 2 super softs, so he might be able to set the fastest lap. You know, might be going for. So Bulltail, I think, can actually see him there. Just about see Frantique. There he goes into the hairpin now. Yeah, he's coming out of it. That's how much of a gap Frantique has got, because Bulltail definitely has to pit again. We shall see. He might be close to Floodlines and to Ryan. This battle for 3rd might not be over yet in terms, but I think he will definitely, well, he will definitely have the tyre advantage when he does hit for his final stop. Lovely camera angle as they go through the middle sector of the lap. And Floodlines doesn't really need to panic at this point. He probably knows already, as Mucko again sets the fastest lap. Thank you very much. Right, so Ryan, as I said, he really needs to get ahead if he stands any chance to get onto a double podium from his last week. His podium last week could be quite interesting. He needs to get ahead. Let's see what Bulltail does. Still staying out on those tyres. Unfortunately, it does seem close battle on track is going to be the one for 3rd place. Let's now put Ryan 8th. Okay. Interesting. Don't know why that has happened at all. Well, there he goes to 4th. Oh, this race director is really interesting. Because Ryan was in 8th and now he's 4th, so sometimes. We're only 30 seconds behind the lead. I say only, that's quite a bit. We've got 7 laps to go in this race, so it is getting now. Very slow. It's Mucko again, so that's the fastest lap. How's your practice session going? Very well, it seems. I think Gravedigger might be settled on a 5th place, but I don't think Ryan is settled on the podium. Ryan very hard to catch the Floodlines. Even on the faster tyre, doesn't seem to be able to close down. Bulltail again stays out. Those tyres might be quite fun towards the end. He's definitely losing a lot of time to Frantique, because this lost a whole second from the gap before. Ryan not within DRS of Floodlines. Looking it down to 1st gear for the head, but maybe that is a little tactic you could do. I don't use it myself. It could be something if you go too fast into the corner. Opens with DRS, so he's within DRS now. It goes into turn 1. It used to be a thing in the game where you had to close DRS before you turned in, otherwise you're going to be spinning off. And now that doesn't seem to be the case. Yeah, definitely Gravedigger settled on 5th place, which is a very solid performance. He should be able to get to the end on the mediums from where he is. Lovely little camera there as they fly through the curb. Ryan is steadily closing in, but again, you've got to think, the more time he pushes, he's just wearing out these tyres. I'm not sure. He's definitely going to be within DRS. He might have an attack on Floodlines if Floodlines does not get a good drive. With a little bit wide Floodlines actually going into there. Now come down into the hairpin. And yeah, he's definitely going to be there. Floodlines notices. He's going to be on the inside. Down into the hairpin. And Ryan just completely outbrakes Floodlines, and that was a great move. Managed to get the car stopped in time. Just ran the outside, and now he needs to get the gap and hope that his tyres can last the distance. That was a good move. Very good move from Ryan. Just outbrake Floodlines, round the outside. Floodlines did his best to defend, but Ryan up and into now second place, and Bulltail still yet to pit. Those tyres must be absolutely shot. Frantique is just, what is this? They've got an 11-second gap over Bulltail, and then another 20 back to the battling third place of Skyline and Floodlines. Floodlines definitely not going to give up on this third place whatsoever. He's going to repay the favour with DRS. Ryan got very wide on the exit of the corner. Could be quite interesting if Floodlines can use the attack with the DRS. Let's see whether he can do the same thing. I don't think he's close enough, actually, saying that. No, definitely not. So Ryan holds him off for now. Did Bulltail pit? No, he did not. Is Bulltail going to completely surprise me and go to the end on Super Sauce? And Floodline's got a much better drive out of there. Going into turn 1, out the final corner. He's going to dive at the inside. Oh, backs out of it. He had a look up at the inside. Wasn't close enough. Backs out of it, which is good, because some people will just stay there and then they'll all end in tears. At least we have a battle on our hands here. The last 5 laps of the race. Can we say though, Ken Ryan, is those tyres going to last to the end? I think they might. I think they might actually, considering Bulltail is doing what he's doing with those softs. I think Bulltail's got to the point where you can set a super soft. Ryan gets a lot of understeer, and Floodlines a lot more controlled through there. Has closed the gap right up. But he needs to stick with him going into these 2 corners here, so he can have a run with DRS on the back. As these two were locked together in battle in Australia, with Floodlines and Floodlines in the ascendancy, with the advantage actually. But let's have a look, and Ryan is going to be defending on the inside. I don't think Floodline's got low straight line speed. As is he going to do exactly the same, trying to outbrake on the outside, but he's locked up his tyres. And Ryan manages to stay in front, but he's still with him to go into the final corner. He's going to get DRS again locks up his tyres, and does not get the best sort of exit out of there. So Ryan has enough of a gap going in down in turn 1. All cars are unequal, so it's not the Honda bringing him back, as he gets also close. He just touched the back end of Ryan's car there. Bulltail still has not pitted. I think he's definitely going to go to the end and surprise me, probably. And if he does that, that'll be a very, very good result. In fact, Frantique and Bulltail are good friends. So they'll be very, very excited to get the 1-2 for them. Not in the same team, but they will feel like it's a good team effort. The Skyline desperately hanging onto this podium. Floodlines does not want to give it up. Of course, he won in Australia. And in fact, actually, if he does finish in 4th, Frantique will take the very, very early lead in the championship with a 3rd and a 1st, and he did not get the best drive at all out of that final corner. Got on the curb on the outside, and that has hampered him at all. Going into this, still going to get DRS, but he's nowhere near close enough. Well, there, DRS wing inactive. And into the heaven now. Exit out of the final corner was not the best. And Bulltail, yeah, indeed, I think he is going to go to the end. So, see what happens with that. So we're definitely going to stick with this battle. Need to remember to take a picture of the results on the penultimate lap, just in case we do get that glitch. And Ryan's gone very, very wide into turn 1. And Floodlines is going to be there, and he does, but Ryan's still sticking at it. He banged tyres, and that bang from the tyres actually got Ryan a better line up on the inside. And that's a nice camera, thank you, game. But Ryan is through. That was quite interesting. As he banged tyres with Floodlines, actually got him more on the inside than where he was. So he takes back 3rd place. This is a great battle. And it's what we want to see. Is we can obviously end on a great high. We can obviously talk about something good in this race with this night. A lot of issues and problems. But move forward with it. And Franti can, well, again, putting the commentator's curse on him. Already, he still needs to finish the race. Definitely looks set for this. It's been an interesting race. Frantic beginning, lots of battles. HLG was part of that. He unfortunately retired, as did Patrick on the race. HLG's car was lagging all over the place, to be fair, before he retired. And Floodlines within DRS. Is it going to go for a little dive bomb move on the inside? They're coming up to a Force India actually, which must be Bart. It was a lap down. It was not close enough for Ryan. Ryan defended it very, very well. Oh, and they both did not get a good run out that last corner, but Floodlines got it a little bit better. Ryan defending. Ryan's just very good at defending his car, but messed up turn 1, and Floodlines is looking on the inside. This is what you can do. Oh, I guess his nose cut right off. Oh, that could have ended quite badly. That's the one thing about this track of turn 1, is that tail-toe move. If you're behind someone, you can see them just going wide, because that's natural to go wide out that corner. If you just stick on the inside, you can sort of cause them all sorts of problems. But we are coming up to the penultimate lap now, and again I need to take a picture at the end of lap 27 just in case. They're coming up to Bart, of course, who's a lap down. I hope he stays out of the way. Yes, he ducks just out of the way, just in time. I have to give credit to Bart, actually. He's a lap down, but he's still going to get points. He's still finishing the race, which is good. Floodlines again, very, very close. And Ryan's stuck on the curbs on the outside. That has not helped him whatsoever. And boy, he's still there, Brian, so be careful. Side by side, here we go. Floodlines is going to have the DRS, but he's not in the slipstream, so he doesn't really gain that much an advantage. Why not break him into the hairpin? They're still side by side. Can he do the little bit of switchback? And Floodlines is through back into 3rd place, but Ryan's going to get the DRS out of the final corner. Much better drive out of there. Floodlines does not have DRS, obviously, so Ryan does. But Ryan this time is not close enough. He's going to go for a dive on the inside. Floodlines, I think, saw him there, but Ryan just got onto the curb on the inside. And that might be the end of it. Onto the end of lap 27. So remember, I need to take a picture through Race Director just in case. I do have that theme from last week, but we are on the penultimate lap, we hope. So let's take you through. So Frantiga's been in absolute complete control. Obviously this seems to be his playground. Great pace all the way through. Started on the medium tyres, and all we had to do was either stick with Ryan or get past him. He chose the second part and got past him. And from then on, he's just controlled the race, stayed on the dry tyres through the wet weather, and his reward is going to be a race victory. So, as he now is going to start the last lap of the Grand Prix, Bulltail, amazingly, I have no idea how he's gone on softs all the way to the end, but it seems like he's going to pick 2nd place. And Floodlines has completely dropped Ryan. I think Ryan's battle for 3rd place is going to be over. So just in case this happens, well, there you go, there's the results. If we get disqualified at the end of the race, that's just for any of the stewards' purposes. There we go. But let's hope we don't, so we carry on. Fortunately enough, I don't think there is any battles. Gravedigger is in 5th. Joran is in 6th. He's got the better of Bart. And obviously we'll take Muck out of the equation. But Frantique, what can you say? Just complete control of the race. Obviously he got pipped to pole because IGG Skyline took a gamble on the intermediate tyres, which just about worked in qualifying. He actually took the pole position in the original attempt of this race, which was dry quali. He took it about 0.6 of a second, so it definitely shows he does have the pace around this track, because he's just got the hairpin and the final corner to go. Again, as mentioned, let's hope that this qualification glitch is completely fixed. Let's thank God. But he's going to come round to the final corner now, and this is going to be his first win in ATA after joining from last week. He crosses the line now. He doesn't get disqualified. Yay! They fixed that. He broke qualifying, but they fixed that little thing. So Franti does take the race win, and Bultel, as I said, Franti and Bultel are good friends. They're not in the same team. They are good friends though. So Bultel is going to take second after staying out on the drives. Everyone else got caught out on the wet weather apart from himself, Franti. Bultel takes second place in Mercedes, and Floodlines, after an amazing battle with IGG Skyline, is going to get third place. With IGG Skyline is going to come home in 4th. Nearly a podium. Nearly, but not quite. Gravedigger is going to take 5th place. Good solid result. Bart is going to take, well, it was going to be 8th and 6th, but there you go. We got there eventually, without these issues. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. For those that was watching, of course, you can watch the race on YouTube live. Yeah, that was interesting. Of course, we had the podium celebrations afterwards, which is a good thing to see. In the end, you on top with Frantique. So yeah, all good. The trophy and then the champagne afterwards. So that's great to see. But yeah, it was an interesting race. I mean, we had the dry period at the start, rain, which caught a few drivers out. It dries at the end. At the end of it all, Frantique does take first place. Bultel second. I'll design 6th, so probably he will get my drive of the day. Definitely. Floodlines third after a great battle with IGG Skyline. IGG Skyline in 4th place. With Gravedigger, they both got bounty, but it doesn't change a thing. Joran in 6th. Mucker, we completely take out the picture because he's meant to be racing in F1. Doing his little practice session, I guess. Bart in, well, will actually take 7th place. HLG and Patrick unfortunately retired. Fastest lap does go to, I believe it was Frantique. So that's that. So that is the race from China. Let's get the drivers in for the podium interview. And we can have a word with everyone. Put a tick next to your name, please.
I have done.
Goody goody. Ah, where's Frantique? Why is he not my friends list? Is he appearing offline? Might be.
I'll help you out a little bit.
I got it. Frantique, if you put next to your name, please. Put tick next to your name, please.
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Thank you very much. So everyone in the stream can hear you. So, well, we got there eventually. We're not completely smoothly. Bultel can hear whatever is on your TV. Can you please turn it down? There you go. Good girl. It's alright. So anyway, so after a interesting race, it's definitely a little bit of entertainment. Through it all was the calmness of Frantique. Obviously started on the medium tyres. You got pipped to pole in the wet qualifying session by IGG Skyline, the cheeky person you. But after starting on medium tyres, obviously you had the choice of either sticking with Skyline in second place or passing him. You chose the latter, and from there, just complete and out of control. The rain caught a few people out, but you just stayed there. I mean, when the rain came down, was it? Did you feel that it was a dry tyres? Did you feel it was a gamble to stay out on dries, or what was your thoughts going through there?
I saw at the start of the race it was dry, obviously, and in the middle part of the race it was going to start raining, but not heavily. So I decided to stick to my slicks.
Oh Lord. Here we go. Not only do we have issues in the race, we have issues in the party! Go! Why? Come on. Anyone? Hello? Oh well, this is good. This is amazing. What is going on? Right. Stop the party. Give me a sec. Wow. It's when you think everything is fine, it's then not. Because the party messes up. So bear with me, guys. I hate it when things don't run smoothly. But let's see if we can get them back in. There we go. You were connecting. Lag. My favourite word at the moment. Right, there we go. Right, as I was saying, through the calm in it all, put a tick next to your name, please, just in case you haven't. So yeah, through the calm of it all, you stayed on the dry tyres. As you said, was it a gamble? Did you think staying on the dries, or did you think it was the right call? Well, it was the right call in the end.
Yeah, I saw in the middle of the race it was going to start raining, but I saw it wasn't going to be heavily raining. So I decided to gamble and just stay on slicks and hope everybody else pits on intermediates, which they did, knowing it would probably dry up.
Well, yes, in the end, it definitely proved the right call. But obviously, you got a third place in Australia. Did you? I mean, I did ask, did you feel you could take the race victory in that? But you got it today, which is your debut race victory in 80. Must be very happy.
Yep, I'm very happy with the result. 25 more points. That should put me on 40. So I don't know what the drivers' championship is now, but hopefully
you did get an extra point for fastest lap.
Oh yeah, extra points of 41. So hopefully I might have nicked it in the championship, and now on pole position. Who knows?
Yeah, I believe you have. And I did mention in the race, if you ever wanted to reserve for F1, I believe your paces will be very good. So obviously, if you can, if you want to, then it's up to you. But again, well done on your race victory, and let's hope your good fortune and success can continue. So
thank you.
Now we're going to second place, Baltel, your debut race in ATA. I mean, obviously the whole evening hasn't gone smoothly at all, including the race itself, which is up and down and all over the place. And if you do watch the replay, you'll hear me say, I didn't think you would last on the on the soft tyres towards the end when you pitted. You proved me wrong. So
I think I didn't pit on Inters either. I pitted
no,
early.
you didn't.
Yeah. There's a lap where I had to pit. It is either now or never, and it is yeah, toss of a coin, I guess.
Indeed, toss of a coin. So as we're saying, you got second place for yourself. Stayed on the dry tyres. I did mention that you two are actually good friends with each other, but not in the same team. So again, both of you must be very, very happy with that. Yeah, anyway, going into next week's race, which I believe is in Bahrain. Yes, it is indeed. What are your chances going into that? We'll ask you, Frantique, first.
I think China's one of my favourite tracks, but when it comes to Bahrain, I'm not the fastest, so I'm not sure I'm going to be getting the same result in that race, but who knows?
Who knows, indeed. What about yourself, Paul Tell?
I reckon I've got more pace around there than China. Tough one. There's a lot of fast people in the lobby, so I'm not that. hopefully another podium and a good race to watch.
Yes, yes, indeed. It was an interesting race to watch as well, but without its problems, and we hope that tomorrow's race, firstly in the F1 division, will be a little bit more smoother, as well as a few more numbers, which is unfortunate, but we can't control it, as I said. But yes, the guys in gp2 will be back in Bahrain next week for the gp2 division, as I said. But from everyone else here at ATA Racing, we will see you tomorrow night at 7 PM. Let's hope for a good one. So from myself, Bill, Mr. Michaels, Frantique and Boutel, from everyone else that provides you the entertainment here, see you next time.